Do you still need a gimbal stabilizer for your camera in 2023? I say yes, and here are 7 reasons why you should have one in your camera gear kit. First off, what is a gimbal? It's a device that supports and stabilizes a camera, like a mirrorless camera, a phone, or an action camera, helping you get smooth and steady movements while the camera is moving. So the first use case is stabilization in general, but many of these cameras now have really good built-in stabilization these days, especially phones and action cameras. So what are some of the other ways that you can use a gimbal? The second use for a gimbal is my favorite, which is motion time lapses or motion lapses. This is when the camera records a time lapse while the gimbal is planted and it moves the camera, usually in a panning movement. Now usually you have to use the included phone app that comes with the gimbal to create these, but the results are dynamic and visually interesting videos that capture movement and energy of a location or an event, and one of the only ways you can do this is with a gimbal. I use motion lapses all the time in my travel vlogs to show the passage of time. I just think that they're more fun and cinematic than a time lapse that is fixed and doesn't move. The third reason why you might need a gimbal is to do a hyperlapse. Now this is similar to a motion time lapse, but it's different in that the camera is recording a time lapse while it's also moving over a long distance. So you might be walking, jogging, or even driving while holding the rig, and the gimbal smooths out your movements. The result is a unique and immersive perspective of a scene, and I use this a lot as transitions from one location to another. The other cool thing about hyperlapses is that you don't have to have a dedicated hyperlapse mode on your camera. As long as your camera can do time lapses, you can put it in that mode, stick it on a gimbal, and start walking, jogging, or just moving with it, and that would create a hyperlapse. Now, as much as I love motion lapses and hyperlapses, one problem is that the camera does not record sound. And even if it did, it's not the ideal kind of audio that you'd want to use in your video. So instead, you might want to use something like music or sound effects. Now, this video is not sponsored by anybody, but I do want to take a moment to talk about a new to me platform called Artlist, because that's where I've been finding audio for all of my travel vlogs lately. Artlist has not only a huge library of over 80,000 songs and sound effects, but also stock footage, just in case you mess up on your time lapse and you might need content to fill in. The stock footage part is a great benefit because none of the competing services that I can think of offers this. Everything on Artlist is royalty free, so you don't have to worry about copyright strikes, and if you use my referral link below, you'll get 2 months off on an annual subscription. So check it out if you're interested. The fourth use for a gimbal is general stabilization. Now, even though gimbals have multiple axes that are controlled via a powered motor, you can lock these axes, and this turns the gimbal into a standalone camera mount, especially if you use the included tripod. In fact, you can use the mini tripod as a standalone on-the-go vlog rig for your camera. Another stabilization use case is when you're shooting in low light. Now, small cameras like iPhones and action cameras have really great built-in stabilization as long as it's bright outside. Once it gets dark, the stabilization really falls apart. Now, using a gimbal can help you with that. Some people would argue that the picture quality still isn't great in low light, but hey, if you really have to make it work, then at least the video won't be shaky. Related to that is if you want to stack filters or other accessories on your camera. Filters in particular tend to reduce the amount of light that hits your camera. This can result in more cinematic effects, but at the expense of taking away stabilization. Also, adding accessories like external microphones and video monitors makes your overall camera rig heavier and thus more unstable. Many gimbals, especially these that are made for bigger cameras, have options to add these accessories directly to the gimbal to even out the weight and help to stabilize your video. Reason number 6 to get a gimbal is pretty cool and relatively new to most gimbals, but that is active tracking. This is when the gimbal is able to track a subject and actually move along with it, so it looks like you have a cameraman following you, when in reality it's the gimbal doing all the work. So it's a really good idea for solo content creators. Now, most gimbals achieve this via their smartphone apps, but there are some gimbals that are now coming with AI tracking sensors on the gimbal, so you don't even need to use your phone app. Still, this is something that you can really only do with gimbals at this point. And the final reason why you might want to use a gimbal is to get unique angles, like super low angle shots. I really love gimbals that let you get into this underslung mode because it's more ergonomic, number one, and number two, you can film really close to the ground, which is extremely hard to do handheld. Also, most modern gimbals will let you shoot in either horizontal or vertical orientation at the push of a button, so you can get all of the above benefits for normal video or for Instagram Reels, TikToks, or YouTube Shorts. So those are my 7 reasons why you might still need a gimbal in 2023. Now, if you're looking for a specific gimbal, I have lots of reviews and comparisons in the playlist below, so check that out if you're interested. And if you like this video, please consider using my affiliate links below to support the channel and subscribe for more. I focus on compact camera gear for on-the-go video making, and I have lots more videos on the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.